Cyberpunk 2077's update 2.3 arriving tomorrow, July the 17th for PC, PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series S and X. Now with the Switch 2 support coming sometime later. Now it brings new cars, a fresh bike, deeper vehicle customization and auto-drive feature, notable improvements towards its photo mode and improved PC and console performance options. While it's solid and free, it's also the smallest of the recent 2.1, 2.2 and of course this 2.3 batch, so some players might feel it just doesn't quite deliver on the promise of, and I quote, getting people back into the game. Now here's just basically how everything works and my thoughts on what the CD Projekt Red have made for this patch after watching the stream. Now first of all, the vehicle customization is the focus. Update 2.3 adds Twintone paint jobs that lets you scan any car you spot in Night City and copy its paint themes to your own right. I believe you get like 205 generic color combinations plus 168 unique traffic variants, and this works on bikes as well. There's also a new Crystalcoat finish that gives your machines a sharp, high-gloss sheen. It's quite a neat and practical for those who spend time hunting down rare or iconic paint styles anyway. But if you followed these updates closely, you already recognize that it's more of the same, that the area of the improvements that CD Projekt Red has refined over the last two patches. And beyond the paint, there's also 4 vehicles locked behind new quests, which I like. You unlock the, and I quote, Yabi ARV Q340 Semimaru, basically a sports car. Then there's also Rayfield Caliburn, it's the Madrid of the Hyperscar basically. And there's also Civilian Legatus 450 Aquila. And there's also a Yaba ASM 3250 Muramasa bike. Each one has its own feel and the design flair, rewarding completionists with something fresh to drive. It's welcome addition, but still leans heavily into the car and bike theme that feels familiar at this point. And also, the long-awaited auto-drive feature finally lands here too. So basically, mark any point of an interest on your map and your vehicle will navigate there without your input. There are 2 modes, direct route to the location or an endless cruise, basically that lets you roam the streets indefinitely. Now you can also summon a Delamain's taxi service to chauffeur you around. This hands-free option is great for anyone who likes to take in the cityscape, capture footage or roleplay without worrying about steering. Then there's also photo mode, of course. It just basically sees one of the biggest updates yet. You can now set the time of a day and also the weather before snapping shots, which adds cinematic control to your compositions. Now there are 27 new NPCs you can also place into the scene, most of them sporting alternative outfits and a fresh assortment of stickers and frames to decorate your shots. And for the content creators, this feels like a meaningful boost, though the customization sits alongside the vehicle work rather than opening up entirely new creative directions. And under the hood, PC players actually get an AMD FSR4 support once the drivers drop though. And FSR 3.1 frame generation becomes available immediately, just so you know. Intel XeSS 2.0 with frame generation plus Intel HDR10 Plus gaming support have been also announced. And on console, a variable refresh rate or a VRR is coming to improve the smoothness and reduce the tearing issues. These tech enhancements ensure Cyberpunk looks and runs better, but they largely reflects features other big budget titles have already had for quite a while nevertheless. You know, on top of all this, Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition has launched on Mac devices, expanding platform availability. So, meanwhile, CDPR confirmed that Cyberpunk 2, even though being currently in pre-production under the codename Orion, it's still about, 4-5 years away. You know, that means that Night City will remain your playground for many updates to come. And still, I would even say that Witcher 4 will come sooner than the next Cyberpunk game. So, what do I make of this update 2.3? I think it's a solid package. It is, but it's easily the smallest of the last 3 major updates in terms of new mechanics and content. If the goal was to pull lapsed players back in with a fresh, substantial reasons to log in, it definitely falls short. The new cars and the paint jobs are indeed cool, and photo mode gains are a lot of welcome for the creatives, but it's more of an evolution than revolution. If CDPR is saving bigger surprises like, for example, New Game Plus mode or an optimized PS5 Pro patch for the game's 5th anniversary coming in December of 2025, that would explain this kind of the restraint here. But for now, long-time players might rightly wish for new story chapters, game modes, or deeper systems beyond cars and cameras. I'm noticing a lot of people mention New Game Plus mode, even though I say that is quite possible. But third-person perspective, now that could be quite an undertaking. I'm curious to see what comes next. A New Game Plus mode would add replay value by carrying over gear, levels, and choices into a fresh run. A PlayStation 5 Pro update could leverage extra horsepower for better visuals or performance, and more content in terms of the side quests and just quests in general, especially linked to the characters that we care about, would actually help revitalize the narrative drive. Night City still holds immense potential, and these small but neat additions in Update 2.3 keeps the city bright and lively. Yet it also highlights the need for broader and more varied content to make returning to V's world an unmissable event. Overall, if you've never tried Cyberpunk before, this is a fine time to get into, especially since it's completely free, and also I believe it's free currently on PlayStation Plus. Now I believe though it's in a little bit of a higher variant, of higher tier so. And the game has come quite a long way since its launch as well. It's about to hit 5 years for its anniversary. For veterans though, it's good for quick fun and new photo opportunities, but you might be left wanting more substantial reasons to jump back in. And let's just hope that CD Projekt Red has larger sort of, DLCs, maybe a little bit of an expansion, something in store to match the ambition that they've shown with these sorts of incremental updates. But nevertheless, always getting something extra or unique things towards Cyberpunk 2077, no matter how small or big, and on top of that being that it is indeed free, that's always welcome, and that is always a nice addition. Well, at that, thank you so much for watching, like and subscribe. I'll see you guys all. Have a wonderful day.